Welcome back to RD Cloud Compute. In this video, I will explain how to configure free VMware VCB backup without any additional license. This software uses the VMware script console scripting. So this is called Ghetto VCB. This is a freeware developed by VMware community. So this can be downloaded from GitHub. Go through the details if you want all the details on file versions explained, licensing terms explained in this. So I'm going to click on the blog post to download the VCB. So I will download the WIP file, GhettoVCB WIP file from the site. Just click download. Once it's downloaded, copy this, upload it to ESXi server. Just go back to ESXi and browse the data stores. I have an ESXi server which is running ESXi version 7, and I don't have any licenses installed. It's just a free evaluation version. So it's still in evaluation mode. So you don't need to have any licenses, standard or essential licenses installed. I have two data stores created. One is VMs, which is running a couple of VMs. One is VM1 is a Windows 10 and a Linux lightweight Linux box. So there is a data store I created backup where we will be storing all the VMware backups. So this is the VM backup. I'm going to upload the downloaded WIP file into this data store. Let's close this and go back and enable SSH for this ESXi host. Just click Actions, Services, Service, enable Secure Shell SSH. Now SSH has been enabled. To connect SSH to the ESXi server, I'm gonna download the PuTTY software. If you're using any Linux or Mac, you can use terminal to connect to SSH. I'm gonna download the PuTTY standalone version. Just launch this exe and will SSH into the IP address of the ESXi host. In my case, 192.168.0.104. Just click open. Say yes, I trust this key. Login with root. Yeah, no. Just df to see the volumes available. I have VMs backup and a couple of RAM disks. So let's change directory. To VMs where we have the WIP file. Just list directory content. Make sure the file is available. Yeah. No. Yeah, we have the correct file in the directory. So now we'll install this WIP file. So to install this, execute the ESXi command. So ESXi software web install the full path -v. The full path starts from VMFS. You can copy paste from It's vmfs slash volumes slash vms slash we get a VCB file. Just force install. So it gives an error if which is not compliant with the local so level of protection. So if you get this error, make sure you don't have uh, security enabled in the BIOS. So EFI is enabling EFI security blocks this in the web file installation. So disable the secure boot from the EFI BIOS EFI and reboot the ESXi. I have done this and rebooted the ESX. Now I'm able to install the web file. Let's try the installation. I should be able to complete it. Yeah, it's installed successfully. No errors, no reboot required. So let's make sure you have a latest version or a version by running the VIP. The document suggests run this command, but it is -n option is depreciated. So I'm gonna run a grep command to find the list of software installed. So this is the version number and then the package version date. So we'll run this once again to show clearly. It's a community supported version 2020. Let's go back and list the content of this application or package. It stores the configuration file in the /etc ghetto VCB. So these are the files. You can edit this configuration file and change the backup directory or a backup data store and other compression and other configurations, email settings, and the script main binaries or scripts are stored in /opt/ghetto bin. Yeah, these are the two scripts for a backup. This vcb.sh will be used for a backup, and the -restore is for restoring the backup. So now you can edit this config file or and change the path. In my case, I'm going to directly edit the script.sh file to change the configuration so that I don't need to mention the configuration file each time I execute the script. But since the script is under the bin, it won't allow you to edit it directly. So I'm going to copy this into a different file name. So I'm going to say GhettoVCB -new. Okay, file is created. I'm going to do all the changes in the new file and use it for the backup. So it has only the read and execute permissions. If you want, you can change it permission to 775 for a writable permission. But if you can directly edit with the VA editor and uh, forcefully save it with edited, change the permission, and I'm going to edit the data store or a backup volume where I want to store the backup. If you have NFS volume, you can mount the NFS volume to ESX and give the mount path of the volume. I'm going to use my local data store. I have a different data store created for a backup. I'm going to mention the path. It's VMFS volumes backup, and slash. I'm going to mention a folder name VM backups. So I don't have this VM backups folder in my destination data store or volume. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't exist, the folder doesn't exist, the backup script will automatically create the folders. Yeah, this is the one of the main configuration change we have to do for a backup. Other than that, you have multiple options like what type of backup you want to store, thin, thick, zero. So I'm gonna leave it as thin, and I'm gonna change the backup rotation period. So it says 3 at the moment. So after 3 backups, the old backup will be deleted. I'm gonna say 7 days so that I will have a 7 days old backups. So here is an option for enabling compression. Compress the backups into a zip format, zip format. But since it uses this backup method, uses the VMware console resources, not unlike a VCB proxy server. The backup software uses the VCB proxy server. This is going to consume the VMware console resources. So enabling compression could create an overload on the ESXi, and during that backup, your console may not respond properly, and compressing the backup might not work for sometimes, or it will take ages to complete. Let's see. For a demo purpose, I have enabled the compression. We'll try a couple of backups and then see what is the difference by enabling compression, not enabling it. So we have saved the file, the script. Now I'm going to try the backup. Let's run the backup. See, we don't have any folders under the backup data store. I have a Linux VM, which is very lightweight, tiny Linux, and I have a Windows 10 VM. I'm just going to give a try with the backup, or run a backup for the Linux box, which is only few gigs. So if you want to take backup of all the VMs, you can mention this script -a, or if you want to take a backup of specific VM, you can say -m and the VM name, or you can create a file with a list of VMs needs to be backed up and say -f, the file name, to say all the file backups, VMs mentioned in this file will be backed up. Do not leave any blank space or a space in the VM name file. So yeah, now the VM Linux server VM backup has been created. It creates a snapshot and clones a snapshot and deletes the snapshot and compress the backups. So it's backup completed. It took 23 seconds to complete the backup and compress it. It is very light, small version of Linux VM, so it didn't take much time to complete this time. Let's go to the data store and have a look at the backup file. So it created a VM backups folder, and under that it created a folder called Linux. It creates a folder for each VM and under on the display name of the VM. So inside that I have a Linux compressed backup file available. Okay, Let's close this and go back and run a backup for a large VM. Let's run backups hyphen with a dash A for all the VMs. And this time it's going to trigger a backup for all the VMs for Linux and then Windows 10 VM1. Now it's cloning the VM1 VMDK files. It's going to take a couple of minutes because it is nearly a 20 gig virtual machine. It does everything like a same VCB proxy backup software, creates a snapshot, clones the VMDK files, and creates a configuration file and deletes a snapshot, except it uses the VM console resource. So keep that in mind. So since you are using a VMware console resource, it's the backup might be slow. Enabling compression could affect the ESX console performance. Now we have a backup created for this machine, but it's still compression. Cloning is in progress. Once it is cloned, it will compress that into a zip format, zip format, zip. Okay, now this is completed. Its cloning is completed. Now it is compressing the VM backup. Let's wait for a few seconds to see how much time it takes. I'm sure it won't complete in minutes, so I may have to terminate this and disable the compression. Let's give it few seconds. No, nothing changes. Nothing. Still compressing. No, no. No. It's more than a minute now. Still it is compressing. It should be quicker without a compression, but enabling the compress saves a lot of space in the data store. It is up to you to decide whether you want to save the space or a quick backups. So yeah, definitely I'm not preferring the compressed method. I'm going to use the uncompressed one, which is quicker one. Let's wait for another 10-15 seconds, then I'm going to terminate this backup, and then I will change the configuration back without a compression and run. Let's see how long it takes. Close this. It's almost 2 minutes now. No, it's still compressing. Okay, let's see. It's still compressing, so I'm not gonna wait anymore. Let's terminate this. Okay, let's close this. Control C, terminate. Let's cancel the backup. Let's edit the configuration file. The files are not compressed, so I'm gonna delete this folder. Yeah, I've deleted all the old backups. Let's change the compress option, disable the compress, and run the backups again. So I'm going to edit the VCB new file script again. Go down and select compression, enable compression 0. Save it. Yep. Run the backup again. Let's see. Yep. This time it should be very quick. Let's see that recent task. It's created a snapshot. It's in cloning this snapshot for the VM1, the Windows 10 VM1 machine. Cloning is completed now. So since we haven't enabled any compress here, so it is moving to the next virtual machine. So now it is created a snapshot, and yeah, it was quick. So it took 56 seconds for the Windows 10 virtual machine and 3 seconds. So in total, in a minute, we have completed the backup for both the VMs without a compress option enabled. So the Linux and the VM, this is the VMDK and the VMX file for the VM. So I can directly select this VMX file and register as a VM and power on and run this VM, or you can restore. If you want to restore this virtual machine, just copy this folder into a new folder and then register this as a new VM. Otherwise, when you let's say this VM, I registered a new VM and I got all the, let's edit the configuration and make sure the disks and the configurations are restored. Yeah, I got everything restored. We can power on and use it. It is a restored VM. But if you delete this VM, registered VM from a direct backup, deleting the virtual machine deletes the backups as well. So that's why it's better to copy the folder backup folder, virtual VM backup folder, to a different data store or in a different folder, then register it. So here is the size, the provision space on the disk, almost 1.5 gig. I'm going to rerun the backups again to see it is creating a new files. Again, it's created a snapshot for Windows 10 and cloning the VM. It's almost completed. Yep, the Windows VM1 backup completed. It took 1 minute. Yeah, both the backups are completed now. It's almost took few extra seconds this time, but yeah, more or less the same time. 1 minute, 2 seconds, 5 seconds. So let's go back to the data store and see them. Now you can see this size of the 10 gig has been consumed. So this VM, you can see two folders, but one of them doesn't have any files because I have registered registered a VM from that backup and deleted it. Because of that, the file is missing from it. So if you look at the Linux, it has both files, backup files, but in Windows, I don't have VMDK or VMX files basically for one of the folder, which is means I have lost one of the backup because I directly registered the machine from the folder and deleted it from there. So better always copy the content and register it as a VM. You can use Linux cron jobs to schedule this VM backups regularly. Thank you for watching.